reason why our victories for tonight are all on blue side. So we'll have to see. Machi now on blue side. What do you decide to ban? Who's going to get Kalista? Is Virus going to be seen at all in this series? We'll find out.
We'll find out after this quick break. No breaks. We're into draft immediately. The Senna is actually going to be banned out on the blue side here for Machi. Usually we see that on red side if it's going to be banned out, but it looks like Machi have other priorities, whether or not they want to be able to be the ones to lock in possibly that misfortune. We've seen the Kalista now twice on the side of winning and twice on the side of losing. So we'll see what the plan is. Also, the Azir ban mission has been able to finally get enough respect to be banned out on this champion, as well as Candy not going to have his little block.
The thing is, Machi has been playing standard so far when it comes to the draft. Talon has been a little bit creative here and there, and now because so many cards have been revealed on the side of Talon, you know, there's the surprise set in the jungle, perhaps maybe even the Vladimir again coming from the side of Hanabi. But you know what? Let's get this misfortune, as it has been the go-to of Bruce ever since.
All right, so it's going to be the Kalista instead getting locked in. They'd rather have that going up in this matchup, and then it allows Talon, if they wish, to go ahead and lock in this misfortune, which, again, I'm on a little bit of a mixed bag here. I trust Bruce to be able to carry this for Machi, but the last game, it just did not happen, and he was just too exposed. They need to get more safety around this pick if they want it to succeed.
Yeah, and for Talon, whenever they picked up the Kalista, they'd always want to get that Carrot. So we'll have to see if Koala will be picking that up, as that is still open. And Talon getting another successful pickup from the earlier draft. So they will be quite comfortable. Meanwhile, Machi has lost with this pick.
And we also see the set getting locked in. This is, again, a quad flex pick where it can go onto the map, can go everywhere but bot lane pretty much as an AD carry. But don't tell that to some other players who might just do that in solo queue. So there is still a lot of options on where this goes, but like you mentioned, now the question becomes, does Machi wish to go ahead and lock in a Taric or possibly a Kench to try and provide a lot of safety for this Kalista?
And there you go. That is the answer that we're looking for, as Taric will be locked in. And at least you have that safety, you have the Cosmic Radiance, you have a decent amount of CC, and that is a Syndra being locked in too. This is kind of an all-in by Machi right now.
All right, so Syndra getting locked in for mission, and that is a blind pick Syndra, by the way. Luckily for him, doesn't have to really worry about the LeBlanc, but there we go. We finally get to see the Bard coming out here for Kaiwing.
And I'm absolutely scary. Again, Kaiwing has been phenomenal on this Bard pick. It has been the entryway to the very first pentakill that we saw coming from Unified last time. And now, what does Machi decide to remove as the jungle? The jungle has been that key part during the early game to see who can get that momentum towards mid and late.
All right, so now we get into our next round of bans. Talon look to target toward a little bit of the jungle pool. So this could be hinting that, once again, River is going to be playing the set in the jungle. Again, we'll have to see, as the Jarvan's banned out away from Gemini. And once again, Hanabi's top lane pool being the target here, where Talon, I think they say, we're fine with this. It doesn't matter if he's not getting his GP or, you know, Mordekaiser. He can just go ahead and fall back onto that Ornn.
Exactly, and now that, you know, Machi has been banning just the Mordekaiser and the Gangplank, and seeing how the pool of Hanabi's selection when it comes to the champions is just immense, even that, you know, Quinn sometimes, even that Vladimir out of nowhere, and perhaps even we'll have to see, as that's going to be a Rumble instead. So Mordekaiser is open. We'll see if the set is really indeed at top side. Yeah,
we'll see now with that Rumble ban. It's pretty much just saying we might see that Candy goes back to it. So I think that's what they're worried about. Now for Talon, what do they wish to pick up here? What do they wish to show? Are they going to try and, you know, hide their top lane pick and allow Hanabi to have a counter pick, possibly with that Mordekaiser? And they just go ahead and maybe take away this Corki away from mission.
And this is going to be indeed scary, because early game damage coming from Unified, or rather from Candy, and if you add in Kaiwing's Roam, I'm going to be a little bit afraid of for mission when it comes to the early game. And with that, again, Machi opting for a little bit more standard, as PK is going to be on that Aatrox again.
Then for Gemini, you take a look at what's available left in the jungle roster. You could go with the Sejuani if you want some upfront, or maybe something that could go dive in the back line, like a Rek'Sai here, because that is going to be the answer as it gets locked in.
I love this pickup. I love the Rek'Sai whenever it just spells out that they're going to be making moves around the map, either level 3, maybe even level 6. And I feel like, you know, this top lane pick from Talon will dictate where, you know, Gemini is going to focus his ganks upon.
Well, the Mordekaiser is available here for Hanabi. It's been banned out every other game, minus this final one. And it is going to get locked in here for him in the top lane, likely now meaning that we do see the set go back in the jungle for River.
And at this point, it's just one of those things where, okay, Machi, they've seen this set jungle before. Unfortunately, it wasn't as successful as Talon expected it to be. But now Gemini is on this Rek'Sai, so we'll have to see whether or not they're going to be making aggressive moves around the map before, you know, the 10-minute mark.
10-minute mark, the early aggression, especially what we saw from River, where he's not afraid, you know, peck splash over the top lane wall to try and get PK back in the showstopper. So that level 6 in particular for this set, I think is where we get to see our action finally on the side of Talon. And it comes down to, you know, is Machi capable of closing things out? You got players leaning back in their chairs. It's getting late. It's gone the full distance, but Talon's still firing on all cylinders as we get set to load in for Game 5.
A test of mental fortitude for sure from Machi. Talon, they've been in this story before. They've been in this book before. So this is definitely a familiar scenario. And just as you mentioned, it is going to be a test of mental stamina for both of these teams tonight.
Well, our series have gone the distance. 2 games apiece. 1 Game 5 decide who's moving on to the grand finals. Once again, for the final time, we load on into the Rift.
Set support back at it again for Talon. Meanwhile, for Machi, a little bit more standard. Honestly, I am very scared of Kaiwing's Bard this time around for Talon, considering it is still sitting at 100% win rate throughout Kaiwing's Bard career in the PCS.
He's had himself a rather stellar performance when it comes to the Bard pickup. A lot of our PCS players, actually, that do have it in their pool have been able to find success. Kaiwing in particular, like we mentioned, was able to assist getting the pentakill for Unified. I think that was actually him on Kench, though. I'm not too certain. Oh, no, that was a Bard.
That was a Bard. It was a Bard of Felios.
Yeah, Bard of Felios. This time, Bard Misfortune. So we'll be able to see whether or not they're able to land the Tempered Fate for the engages, maybe help set up River for a massive showstopper. Who knows? And we also get to see Hanabi not on a tank champion anymore. He's now the Mordekaiser, which itself can be tanky, but it has a little bit more of that carry potential, and sometimes we've seen that come out from him when he's given the opportunity with this champion.
Yeah, I think that's the thing for Hanabi. He can definitely manage without the influence or without the visit of River, so River can focus on more in relieving pressure around bot side or perhaps even in mid, and Hanabi can definitely manage that 1v1. In the meantime, though, this is going to be the first time I believe we'll be seeing the Kalista Taric for Bruce and Koala. So we'll have to see how this pans out, as Unified and Kaiwing has definitely been working wonders on that pick in particular.
It's going to be a full bot side clear, it appears, here for Gemini, going a little bit slower, not going buff to buff, which we've seen a couple times when he's playing the Rek'Sai, as River is actually going to be doing that for himself. Maybe they're going to try and allow Machi to try and get a push in this bot lane, as Kaiwing being very hesitant with the auto attacks with a bit of veracity can lay down as a Bard.
And for Gemini, he will be spotted when he takes these Raptors. In the meantime, though, not a lot of deep vision on the side of from Machi to spot out where this set is going to go. Visit first, but looking at bot side, there is no vision just yet on the side of Machi. So as you can see, Koala already placing that ward just in case River decides to take a visit at bot.
And a bit of a deeper one, actually, so they didn't actually know whether or not that was going to be in the brush. River cut and maybe went for the blast cone, but it isn't actually spawned there just yet, so a little unfortunate. As mid lane, Candy able to sidestep away from the Scour of the Weak for the stun, but still takes a little bit of damage here, as Gemini going to go for an invade here onto River. Going to have a bit of a contest between the two over the Raptors is Gemini gotta be a bit careful. Can't be eating up the full damage of River. Able to sneak away the Raptor.
Sneak away the Mama Raptor, so that's a little bit of good deny at least away from River. Just a little bit. In the meantime, though, Scuttlers is going to be spawning in a few, and based on Gemini's pathing, he seems to be opting to more on that bot side, as he spotted River on top side. So we'll see whether or not there's going to be a play. But the lane is quite extended in favor of Machi at the moment.
Yeah, Machi have been able to get a lot of vision toward the bot side of the map. Now that they don't know exactly where River is, they did see him on the top side when Gemini contested the Raptor. Maybe they decide to look for a play, but it opts to just go ahead and clear out the Scuttle. Cloud Drake will be up in about a minute 15 if they want to go for a very early Dragon, especially considering they have a decent amount of priority in this bot lane. Maybe a bit risky to go for that before the first back, though, on the Kalista.
Yeah, and we'll see whether or not Mission will take that teleport to lane. Looks like that will be the case. Candy hasn't went back to that reset just yet, but so far, for Mission, he's doing a great job pushing and pressuring Candy in the mid lane, even trying to zone him out of that wave experience.
Going for the double Dorans, as here we go. Gemini coming over the side of the wall, able to find it, but not able to get the fight down. Is Candy able to get to safety underneath the tower, so no first blood in this mid lane.
That was insanely close. Thing is, though, Candy doesn't have a flash anymore. Gemini as well. So any sort of flash knockup will not be available for the rest of the lanes if Gemini decides to visit later. Meanwhile, this gives Kaiwing that go signal to install a bunch of deep wards in the side of Machi's jungle.
Mission's getting a lot of great... Oh, beautiful scatter
Beautiful.
the week. Prevents River from getting close enough off the flash to go for the face breaker, and that's going to be a summoner down on the set.
Meanwhile, Mission's still trapped in this corner a little bit. Good thing, though, Kaiwing didn't fully roam towards that mid lane and make it a two-man gank for against Mission here. So Mission gets to keep his own flash. Meanwhile, River does have a Hex Flash.
Has Hex Flash. They'd be able to get over a couple walls. Let's take a look here in the mid lane off this just massive sky. That'll be cool.
Yep, beautifully done. Coming from Mission. And right now, ooh, nicely done, Rend. From the side of Bruce to chunk out Unified. Meanwhile, Hanabi, actually, CS-wise, still pretty much even-ish. But River, and towards the side.
That's the World Ender popped immediately. River's going to try and come on back to try and assist here. Hanabi ends up popping his ultimate, going into the 1v1. PK waiting on his cooldown, still able to sidestep a little bit of damage. In comes Gemini, though, wants to join in, and Mission is able to clean up possibly here. The True Grit down on down as River able to soak up damage, but not enough. And that's going to be a kill going back in favor of Machi. Hanabi trying to go for the 2v1. Unfortunately, it's just the dancing shoes of Mission and the thumbs up of the ROM is from Gemini's taunt. And that's going to be 2 kills going in favor of Machi. River was able to at least secure first blood, though, on the side of Talon.
Dancing shoes on for the side of Mission. But for Talon, Candy not able to actually get priority, so he's not able to join this one and make it a 3v3. And for PK, managed to buy a lot of time as well, managing to dodge a few Qs here and there from the Mordekaiser. Unfortunately, not enough for him to survive, but with that said, Mission at least managed to get a few kills here and there, and as well as Gemini.
Yeah, Mission with a really good roam here. That was kind of the big thing where it comes back onto the set play where he wasn't able to actually get the face breaker to connect with Mission originally. And the fact that Mission was actually able to roam up to top lane and pretty much be in a fight for about a minute, Andy has not been able to actually make up any of the farm disadvantage that he has in the mid lane. He's still getting pushed in underneath his tower.
Exactly, and that is the scary part. So now, where does River decide to visit? Considering that you have Mission always advancing, does have that vision over that dragon area at least to fall back to, so Mission will lean towards this area a little bit more. Then there's another roam actually coming from Mission, as Gemini will remove more of the vision on Talon's jungle.
We're trying to go ahead and deny this blue buff, which kind of makes life a little bit more difficult here for Candy, as he's yet to get his tier and has actually opted into a null magic mantle just to get a little bit of safety against Mission. And you're already starting to see Mission kind of take over this matchup, especially now that Candy's being forced to have to stunt his path a little bit as far as going toward his trading force, as he has to now get a Hex Drinker very early in the game.
Yeah, exactly. Just to remove the potential of a full burst combo coming from Mission. And you're right, it will stall the growth, considering, yeah, you want to get to that Triforce spike immediately, unless you want to go for that Mana Moon item first. But with this said, Machi, very comfortable in the early game. Based from what we've seen so far in the series, whoever gets the early game lead and manages to transition well will win the game. We'll see if that's going to be a different story for Talon, because they managed to defy the odds when they faced against HQ.
Yeah, and this becomes draining, where you have to, again, you repeatedly have to go into a 1v1 match, especially in your top laners. 5 games back-to-back, including that pretty long pause we had at the start of Game 2. It's been a very long night, and, you know, things start to get, yeah, it's a little bit stir-crazy after a little bit. I know I personally do, you know, just watching. I can't believe what it'd be like for a player at this point, where we're going now on to, if I take a look over on my timer, I think 6 hours so far, 5.5, so it's a long series being drawn out here. Talon, though, look to be the first ones to strike once again, as you have River pathing toward the top lane. Already both ultimates used by the top laners. Gemini wants to also answer. This looks to be a mirror image of what we saw last time around. Showstopper comes down, and River able to bring home the slam as he's able to find himself a kill.
You can tell the hesitation from Gemini, seeing, okay, is this fight going to be possible for us to turn around? Seems the answer is no, considering that Mission wasn't able to exactly follow the roam by Candy. So at this point, it was a good decision. Getting more plates as well.
I get some plates, but honestly, Candy didn't really get a whole lot from that roam. He didn't get an assist, and he only got, I think, 1 turret plate there at the end. Meanwhile, he saw Mission was able to get a full push in, as we just take another look here on the fight up top.
It's an easy showstopper. And with that, PK, no escape, gonna teleport to the reel-in by Hanabi, but at the same time, Hanabi does need to get that reset first, as Gemini can actually see if he got the Prey Seeker steal off of that frog. But we'll have to see as Gemini's just gonna back away.
Gemini has finished off his warrior enchant, so he get a decent amount of just gold efficiency off that with just the amount of stats you're able to pick up. But on top of that, you can take a look toward the mid lane. Mission has already completed his Luden's Echo, so he gets some cooldown reduction as well as just upfront burst damage, where Candy is already almost 40 CS down at 11 minutes. This Corki is starting to fall very far behind, and Gemini hasn't really actually had to deal with that lane at all. It's been mainly River who's been leaving the Corki out to dry.
And because of Candy's, oh dear. Okay, at least you have Valkyrie. Okay, the reason, because of Candy's deficit in the mid lane, it just makes it harder for Talon to not engage in any of the first 2 Rift Heralds and actually even the first 2 Dragon fights. And again, that is going to put Machi in a very, very comfortable lead against Talon, where Talon, if they really want to win against Machi, they have to get a humongous lead, get ahead early, and that's not happening at the moment, considering Candy earlier was on that LeBlanc, and right now it's Mission in control.
Up by 2 levels here, so there's a lot of just, again, possibility of finding a solo kill on him if he's not careful. Otherwise, on the map, though, River has been able to pick up 2 kills. Unfortunately, you're getting a set who's only going to get a little bit tankier, as he's just picking up tank items at the moment. Maybe looking for a possible pickup here if Gemini is a little bit unsafe. Kaiwing also has Tempered Fate available on the Bard if he wants to go for an engage. Ocean Drake is spawning in about 1:10, with Machi bot lane at least getting pressure onto the tower. Should give the opportunity for Machi to put down some vision.
What is the call for Machi? Do they want to reset? Do they want Bruce to come back and recuperate? Maybe buy a few items here and there. There's still at least 2 item slots left. Meanwhile, for Candy, he doesn't have teleport, so he has to go back, get some more mana, and buy some more items and walk manually towards this area. We'll see whether or not that's going to be a package for Candy. We'll have to see.
Ping's coming out. They're just, you know, scouting through the jungle, but that's another turret plate here for the bot lane, as Bruce is starting to get a little bit of an advantage. Unified, though, has been able to keep up and farm, and that's kind of the main thing you're hoping for with this Misfortune. Especially, you're not really expecting him to do a whole lot until you have those 2 items for that bullet time, but Rift Herald popped immediately in mid lane will allow that tower to fall, and that should be first brick gold going in favor of Machi.
And it's a 2 birds.
Very nicely done there by
Nicely
Kaiwing.
done. Yeah, it's very well done. Actually able to get a few of the eye, at least, to deny any of that charge in. But that Tempered Fade will not be available for that dragon fight, so we'll have to see if this is going to still pan out for Talon.
Teleport is going to come out here from Hanabi, wants to join in onto the fight. Gemini gets himself to safety, and with that, they are able to actually secure the dragon. Candy, though, jumping forward here onto mission, but he gets right in front of PK. Unfortunately, the Corki's going to go down immediately. That's the unfortunate play there, and with the stun also comboing onto Unified, Machi are able to find themselves another kill. Hanabi is not able to do much else, as fortunately, not even going to use his ultimate to try and trap PK underneath the tower. And Machi, even though they lost the dragon, they're able to pick up the mid lane tower, as well as a couple kills to extend their gold lead to 3,200.
Talon got a little bit too excited there, specifically Candy, I suppose. I mean, who wouldn't be excited? Who wouldn't want to funnel in mission, be insanely low with Candy getting that head start, even Valkyrieing forward? Unfortunately, Flash was available, but because of the knockups, not able to escape. He's not able to escape, and Unified was caught off guard as well, trying to join his teammates, retreating. But because of Koala and Bruce, that is not possible. So with that, 2 carries die from that fight.
Give yourself a little bit more gold onto your team before any of the main items are actually picked up here for Talon. You still see Hanabi sitting on his components for Leandri's. Hex Drinker is at least complete for Candy, but now he's starting to build into his Triforce, so that's still going to be probably another 5 minutes before it comes online. And even then, Unified doesn't even have his Essence Reaper complete. So Machi have themselves a bit of a power lead when it comes to items, and we'll see whether or not they're able to abuse that in the next couple of minutes, as we're going to have another Rift Herald spawning here in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, and for PK too, made a lot of impact in that fight as well. Managed to catch Candy off guard. So for Talon, they have to worry about not only mission, but also PK on the stage rise.
Well, here we go. Tempered Fate is going to land onto Bruce. Bullet time is there. Cosmic Radiance comes in a little bit late. River wanted to maybe go for a play, and that's just the issue here. Unified doesn't do a whole lot of damage with this bullet time because he doesn't have any crit.
Yeah, they were hoping for that Gemini. There's a lot of members right there. It's gonna delay the back from Candy. He is gonna have his teleport soon though. But yeah, just a bunch of components on the side of Unified still waiting for that Trinity Force, or not Trinity Force, Infinity Edge to be completed. Trinity Force for Candy, that's still a long ways off. But for Machi, they are satisfied with that Luden's completed, and as well as that Bork, and that's the reason why they are going to be primed and ready to even get this Rift Herald as well that's going to be spawning in a few seconds.
Yeah, here's the thing, like, Mission has been able to just keep getting gold for himself, just honestly having it injected on him, with him just picking up solo lane gold on the top lane, as well as picking up another tower, and he's now got a 60 CS advantage on Candy. He's been sitting on that Oblivion Orb for about a couple minutes, so he might be looking for his second item only at 16 minutes. This Syndra has been able to just farm up a Storm, and nothing really has been done to try and stop him. I guess they're really hoping that River in the late game will be able to just jump on top of him and put him down with a showstopper.
And I think the problem was they were hoping for Candy to at least get the lane even, because Corki is going to be used as that buffer before Unified gets over that, 2 to 3 item power spike, and have that bullet time create a huge impact in these dragon fights, or maybe even the Baron. But now River might set up for a dive here, but is spotted out by a Vision Ward.
And PK is able to just clear out the minions as it crashes into the tower. We'll see here, though, if Talon wishes to try and set up around this Drake, as already Machi, full control on the top side of the map, are able to pick up the second Rift Herald. And can look at to knock down a second-tier tower as they've already taken all the out-tier towers of Talon.
Yeah, what does Machi decide to do? If they manage to get... okay, so River managed to secure that red buff for themselves. Yeah, if Machi is able to get at least 1 or 2 picks, perhaps they can unleash the Herald. Probably maybe top side or maybe even mid to have more room in Machi's jungle for at least both sides of the map.
And as far as a Game 5 goes, it hasn't been a super eventful game compared to what we've seen from a couple of our other games here in this series, where we're almost cresting toward that 20-minute mark. We've only had 6 kills, and this has kind of been the story when it comes to these two teams, especially even during the regular season, where I believe their first matchup, we only saw 5-6 kills overall.
Yeah, I think these two teams, especially when the PCS started, they're the type of team to give up either 2 dragons because they're trying to exchange things off at the top side of the map, or maybe when, you know, the 20 or 15 to 20 minute mark arrives, they're the type of team that also, when they don't have dragon control, they decide not to fight and just push elsewhere. But it has been different for some of the games, I suppose, where they just really engage on the 5v5s, but since it's a game number 5 where whoever wins this game gets to move on to that final slot, whoever loses drops to the lower bracket, they're a little bit more careful nowadays.
There we go, Riptail's going to be popped down in bot lane. Be able to get some damage onto the tower, but no, Kaiwing denies them once again. Kaiwing's had to use 2 ultimates to save towers. I don't know whether or not they're going to be able to completely save this one, as fortunately for him, the Shelly not looking toward them. Finally, there it is. The eye is exposed. Candy on a flank with package. Be a bit of a suicide mission, though, considering now that you also have second item online for the Rek'Sai as well. Edge of Night completed for Gemini, so he's able to actually dive in without being bursted immediately. It feels like Machi just continue to have control here. Candy wants to try and get aggressive. Can't do much else, though, as missions nearby to help Gemini.
Good news, though, still no QSSs appearing on the side of Machi, so they're currently still very much focused on building more of their items, damage items rather. So that's good news for Hanabi, at least, when he sends people to the death realm. But meanwhile, in the meantime, just as you mentioned, Mission is farming crazily in this game at the moment. 225 CS right now. And with this said, what is Talon's solution as Baron has spawned? Still a long ways off before the dragon is about to come online as well. So for Machi, they're satisfied with this scenario.
Yeah, Mission's just gonna keep on getting stronger and stronger. There is a possibility where Talon find a very late game fight, but they need to start finding some situations that help stall them out the game. Because if Machi keeps just getting things in their favor, they should be able to just close things out relatively easy. I don't see a whole lot of response that can come out here from the side of Talon.
Yeah, they can keep getting more towers as the game progresses. There's also a really nice ward in the middle of the lane, so I'll be worried about the teleport.
Temper Fate able to land there onto Bruce. It's going to be a bullet time, but the Showstopper ends up bringing him out, and that is 4 ultimates used for Bruce. Hanabi ends up bringing him into the Death Realm. Bruce is going to try and do his best. He tries to kite for his life. He will finally get taken down. There is not a response here by Machi, it seems, as Mission already used his teleport to go toward the top side of the map.
And their priority was definitely just trying to defend that tower and not allow that to fall, so they get more leads on, you know, the number of towers, number of structures. But at the same time, unfortunately, Bruce had to fall. You're right, though. Talon did invest a lot to eliminate Bruce. Let's take a look at that again. I was worried, actually, about this ward in the middle, because it's prime and ready for a teleport, but because of the Tempered Fate, Hanabi had to teleport at that side brush instead, but it don't matter. As they still managed to secure the kill with Cosmic Radiance unable to do much.
Yeah, unfortunately for Bruce, like, everything was used on top of him, and that's why I'm a little bit disappointed that Machi were so late to the party. Mission actually used his teleport just to try and soak up a wave in top lane, and I bet he's wishing that, you know, maybe he could have stayed, but now they actually are able to find a quick catch there onto River, trying to get himself back to safety, gets stunned up into the Scatter of the Weekend. Gonna go down here with the Unleashed Power as the shutdown goes in favor of Mission and only makes this Syndrome more powerful.
So teleports are not available for Talon, as they've used that to again, invest so much against Bruce. Problem is for Machi, I mean, good news for Machi, they have teleport for PK, but he's actually already inside his Baron pit. That's 16 seconds on the clock without your jungler.
16 seconds on the clock without River. They do also have a Kalista with 4 complete, so they can go ahead and try and take down this, not Rift Arrow, Baron very quickly. Candy, gets chunked out immediately. Has to get himself back to safety. Bullet time comes out, but they're not able to do much. They finally take down Gemini. It's going to be a 50-50, but guess what? You still have a smite in the form of the Rend of the Kalista. Unfortunately for Talon, they won't be able to do much there, as it's going to get secured here by Bruce, and now he's going to kite back on Hanabi. Unfortunately, that Mordekaiser is going to go down. Rend is going to get the reset. PK gets out, trying to get some damage. Unified, though, is still alive. Mission was not able to find his target. The unleashed power is coming off cooldown, so Talon have to be careful on this chase.
Okay, that is 2 out of 5 members of Machi that at least have that Baron buff. But for Talon, good job in trying to at least stall and reduce the number of players that have that buff. And let's take a look at this again. This is a beautiful catch against Candy. And unfortunately, the Tempered Fate did manage to buy some time at least. But for Bruce, he did his job. He managed to rend the hell out of this Baron.
Yeah, unfortunately there, like, Hanabi, you brought the Kalista into the 1v1, which unfortunately Bruce is able to do well. But luckily he delayed it enough that it allowed Talon to come in and clean up a couple of these kills. It's still about a 4,000 gold disadvantage in favor of the side of Machi, but that is going to be their 3rd dragon of the game. That sets them up for Mountain Soul if they wish to take it on the next respawn.
They get a dragon, they've got Morelos on mission already, and as well as Runan. So that is just the perfect setup for Machi to even further their lead or through fights that they feel like they're comfy taking. And you know what? They are capable of also getting a few picks here and there, considering that is a Syndra on your side. And they can try to replicate it again. No towers already for the outer side, on the side of Talon at bot. And now they're looking into getting this inner tower for top side now.
He's going to continue on the push. He's been, again, one of the only members on Machi that's been dying a bunch here. Runan's is completed, though, for Bruce, so that's a nice little power spike with Kalista, having the ability to apply Rend stacks to multiple members of the team of Talon. While Mission also now finished his Banshees onto his 3rd item. Candy has gotten his Trinity Force finally, though, and that's a nice little sign there for this course.
Package picked up for Candy, but again, once you see that package, not a lot of time for Candy to keep that intact, and as you can see, it has already expired without it being much of value at this point, as Machi will just knock on the door on this inner tower in mid lane.
That's really all they get here, is most of the Baron buff has been just taken from the fact that they got the Baron. They've only been able to really equalize out that gold draft to that 1,500. So with that, Machi not going to gain a whole lot. Not going to lose a lot, though. That's, I think, the key point here. For Talon, it gives them a little bit of breathing room, though, to continue scaling in this game.
Yeah, as with that said, Machi did manage to get a few camps here and there, managed to clean it well to choke Talon a little bit when it comes to the resources that they want to get. For Machi as well, 30 minutes still on this dragon, but again, they have full control, so you only have that top side tower that's left standing in between that Nexus tower, or rather not Nexus tower, Inhibitor tower. They're trying to set up for maybe a sneaky pick on towards Candy, because there's still not a lot of defenses, except for the Hex Drinker, of course, in terms of itemization. No stopwatches yet, though, for Talon.
You still get to see some items, though, come online. Like, Unify can actually do a decent amount of damage. As Hanabi teleports back to base, maybe he thought members of Machi were coming up to catch him out?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure.
Most likely.
Most likely.
There's not.
I don't know why else he would use that.
There's not a lot of vision yet. I don't think there's not a lot of vision on that part of the map, so perhaps that was the call. Like, it's one of those split-second decisions that could potentially cost your life, so he immediately teleported to the first thing that inside the base of Talon.
All right, Hanabi. That's actually a teleport you might want to have back here, is you're going to have Dragon fight in 2 minutes, and that is for Mountain Soul on the side of Machi if they're able to secure it. Gemini trying to be sneaky here at the moment, trying to get the Tremor Sense to catch out where the members of Talon are pathing, and with that, not a whole lot happening on the map, it does allow them to rotate down toward the bot side and advance that vision line on the side of Machi.
And I think that's the reason why you see PK immediately go back home and, okay, let's try to split push, because we just saw Hanabi use a teleport. He was right near the minion, so they did spot this out. So now this is the go signal for PK to split push. Hanabi, actually everybody is now forced to reset. Let's see, as Machi is on their way to get that Mountain Soul as well. So that's gonna make Talon's life a little bit more harder, more pressure for Unified to pierce through those shields. Candy, at the moment, does have Infinity Edge, so that's actually a good spike paired with the Trinity Force. But for Talon, do they want to contest this dragon, this fourth dragon for Machi?
See, here's Machi is going to continue just clearing out some members of the jungle, and it does allow them to, again, get wards, get vision down into Talon's jungles to see whether or not they're going to path in. Is Talon going to try and make the play here where they are willing to trade a Baron for the Mountain Soul?
PK is nearby. I think he has spotted a few movements here and there, especially certain vision has been taken down. So Machi is definitely aware, as they still stick around this part of the map in the middle to make sure that they still have control of this Baron.
Machi going to advance up toward the top side of the Baron. I wanted to see whether or not they would actually try and force this Mountain Drake. That does mean Talon get a free entrance onto this Mountain Drake. If Machi wanted to get the soul, they could have. They'd have a little bit of miscommunication. PK does have teleport available, so we'll see whether or not they actually go for this. Gemini needs to go in. It's way too late, and that means Talon is able to take down the dragon with little to no contest coming out from Machi.
Indecision! Oh, Gemini, though, has a good angle, but the portal
comes out onto Koala. Not going to be able to actually connect there. Does force out River to have to back off and gets himself back to safety.
Interesting by Machi. I think they're at the point in the game where they might be a little bit more comfy taking on these fights, but perhaps they were a little bit excited going over to that Baron and trying to see if any of the Talon members are lingering around. But yeah, you're right. That is actually a Dragon Soul getting delayed for Machi.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked that Machi didn't try and go for that. Like, they're not in a bad position. I think they were in a better one before that fight could have actually taken place, because now Candy, he's hit level 16. He's also got his Infinity Edge now online, so Torquay's going to do a decent upfront amount of damage on the burst. Mission, though, use that teleport. And it looks like for Machi, the call is going to go for this Baron once again. Kaiwing does have Tempered Fate available. 11,000 health. The rest of Talon now starting to make their way along the Baron pit wall. Ren stacks are there for Bruce if he wants to try and burst it down. A nice rocket onto Gemini. You see Machi a little bit indecisive. You're able to avoid that sidestep from Bruce. In comes the engage though, and Koala is able to find the stun. Another knockup onto Kaiwing. Goes down low, able to escape. Now Hanabi jumps on top of Koala. PK going to be brought in by the showstopper. Bullet time doesn't really hit anyone on the side of Machi. Scattered Weak is there. Unleashed power deletes Hanabi from the map. Candy almost able to take down Bruce in mission, though. And that is just going to be the disengage. One member lost on the side of Talon. Baron, though, not taken.
PK has done his job phenomenally. You saw a lot of members are going low because he did his absolute best as the Aatrox here. Death Dance already completed as well. So that makes him survive a little bit more when it comes to these 5v5s. And as you can see, Bruce, I felt like he really wanted to finish this Baron, but, you know, Talon already started the fight, and there's a ton of Ren stacks already invested here, and then suddenly, okay, never mind, let's just switch targets and just go for this 5v5.
And it doesn't matter, as, again, Machi have started up the Baron, as we'll cut back into that replay another time. 7,000 health. Once again, can Talon actually stop this? Bullet time is not available. Tempered Fate lands onto multiple members. In comes the rest of the pit. It's a very, very late attempt, and it's Baron going in favor of Machi. A nice dodge coming out from Gemini, able to get him back to safety. Unleash power back onto Hanabi, not able to find the kill, and Machi are able to find a disengage without losing a single member.
and it's perfect because at that time, Unified didn't have bullet time. So if Machi stuck around, that could be lethal, and it just came back up. And right now, for Talon, they'll just get that tower in the mid lane as a consolation prize, especially it has stuck out for a bit. Oops, the Valkyrie didn't quite hit its mark. But you know what, Machi? Getting that second Baron buff for themselves, I'd say they're going to be very happy.
That's a 4,000 gold lead on Mission. That is
dear.
Massive difference between him and Candy, but you know what, the Corki, if he's able to get that upfront damage right away, he's able to do some decent work. Mission on this Syndra hasn't been really able to find the target now as he's hit his 5 items. Mountain Drake going to be spawning in about a minute 20. He wanted to see with this Baron buff if Machi were going to be able to break anything as far as the base of Talon, because we're getting to that point where Talon is starting to scale up in some of these team fights. Unified's going to start doing a bunch of damage, considering now he's working towards his next AD item. Also has a Hex Drinker to soak up a little bit of the magic damage that's going to be coming out from Machi. Bruce and Koala want to engage down towards this bot lane. Shirelia's his bot just for an extra bit of move speed. Not able to find his target though. Gemini waiting on the other side of the wall. River, and Facebreaker not actually going to connect.
And now it's siege from all different parts of the map. And for Talon, it's kind of difficult at this point just because you are going to have to rely on Candy for that wave clear. And Unified has to reserve that bullet time for big fights.
Now, mid lane push comes in for Machi. That 7,000 gold lead, Hanabi, gotta be a little bit careful. Oh, River able to find himself a nice face breaker. They're able to catch out Bruce immediately. Candy going into the back line. He has to flash his way to safety. River ends up using the Haymaker, gets some damage. They take down Gemini. It's gonna be a trade of junglers. Still not enough damage as Hanabi is left alone on his own on the other side of the wall. Flashes back to safety. Talon are able to disengage. Candy almost gets deleted by Mission, and now Unified and Kaiwing, they don't want to slow down, but Mission is able to get these orbs to land. And somehow, neither team loses more than one member here at the wall of Talon's base.
And it's going to be a jungler for a jungler. All carries are still pretty much alive, but there's still a lot of respect. And at this point, for Machi, they're looking into getting this Dragon Soul for themselves. For Talon, not sure if they can make it in time.
Talon, they're way too late for this, and that does mean that Machi are going to have the soul, and you can start to see the shields that are going to form here on Bruce as he's actually finished off his Bloodthirster. He gets about a 600 to 700 shield of just additional safety. Now question becomes, do we see our next fight at the Elder Drake, or are we going to see it at the 3rd Baron of the game?
It's crazy. For Talon, they are holding on to that hope of... They've come so far on this series in particular, and it all started with, you know, the Hex Splash in, and as well as the engage coming from River. Unfortunately, you see Candy using the package at least to slow that choke point down, but they are quite separated, and Unified can't exactly sacrifice position to at least get a bunch of autos here and there, and I think that's the problem.
Yeah, if we see what ends up happening here if River isn't able to lock down, say, Mission or Bruce completely during one of these fights. Sure, you're able to trade jungler for jungler, but you need to get one of these carries. If they're able to get Mission there, there's a possibility that Talon can then snowball that fight in their favor and take down more and more carries because there isn't a Syndra kiting back with orbs. Now they have to deal with the fact that you have multiple spell shields on the side of Machi. You have the Dragon Soul shield that now provides additional amount of safety that pretty much makes it so Candy's poke doesn't do a whole lot in the end. And sure, Kaiwing can get a Q or two, but he's not doing a massive amount of damage.
Yeah, and eventually, you cannot exactly ignore PK right now. He has a Visage and as well as the Death Stance. So he's just going to really cause chaos in the backline. And now you see Machi moving forward to this inhibitor. Bruce leading the charge, actually.
Bruce steps forward, able to get a decent amount of damage. What does the call play? That's not the Tempered Fate you're looking for, and with that has to be the call from Talon to back off. Kaiwing forced the flash over to safety. Unified still trying to do what he can to try and clear out the minions at the inhibitor, but it will fall as Bruce is able to continue the auto attacks.
Machi very, very careful as they want to traverse safely. PK taking an interesting route, actually.
Maybe
possibly a bait.
Want to try and get a cut here. Kaiwing does not have Tempered Fate available once again. Fate's Call is going to be there. They find the knock-up immediately, and River is caught out. Haymaker comes through, flashes to safety. PK cannot finish him off. Hanabi on the back line, though, is going to try and use his ultimate onto Gemini, of all people. He goes golden, but unfortunately the rest of the squad is so indecisive. They cannot go for a play. They don't want to go for a fight, and Hanabi gets taken down.
And that's 50 seconds on the clock, more or less, before Hanabi responds into the rift. And, you know, Talon has to defend this 4v5 with the rest of Machi still quite healthy.
And here we go. Next wave going to be crashing in shortly. It's currently at the midway half point, so Talon have a couple seconds to try and recuperate what they can. But that's going to be super minions start pouring into the base in the bot lane. PK are just going to try and escort that. It's going to be another Tempered Fate, but Candy gets caught out. He gets deleted. Gemini finds his mark, and now the rest of the squad is just going to get destroyed here unless they back off to safety. Talon underneath their fountain, trying to hope for what they can, but unfortunately, it looks like their hopes at getting into the grand final via the winner's bracket are for naught. Koala is going to interrupt the bullet time. Unify can't even use it, clear out the wave, and the first Nexus tower is going to fall. They came down to a game 5 here, but Machi look to cement and lock in their ticket to the finals on the next push.
And it seems to me Baron will be the next target. 25 seconds on the clock for Candy to respond. He has that teleport, though. It will depend whether or not Talon does have advanced vision on Black, jungle. Let's take a look at this again. This was an interesting play with PK just trying to stop the advance and separating Hanabi from the rest of the squad. This was very smart of Machi, and they get to reap the rewards by getting a kill off of Hanabi, and Talon not able to exchange anything off from that fight.
This series still has not disappointed, and it comes down to now this hold from Talon where unfortunately Candy, his positioning in this game has been compromised multiple times, and he's honestly just too close to this fight, especially the fact that Mission can step up like this.
And the thing was, they actually got Bruce into the Tempered Fate, but unfortunately there's just other threats that you have to worry about. And we did mention, eventually you cannot exactly ignore PK, and as well as Gemini when he just dives into the backline, and of course Mission is just there to burst people down. With the Rabadon's already in his inventory, you know what? No need for the Zanyas at this point. No need for any sort of other defensive items because they're quite comfy in their spot right now.
So now Machi look to position themselves around Baron. The game has gone long enough that we are going to have an Elder Drake possibly. But I think if this Baron goes in favor of Machi, they don't even have to worry about that. This would be the third one, and the wave clear for Talon heavily relying on the bullet time. And Mission is solo zoning 4 members of Talon in the choke point because of the terrain created by the Mountain Soul.
And that is going to be a sweet Baron take as well as that Scatter the Weak. And at the moment, there's no choice for Talon but to defend against this one. And for Machi, they are happy just surgically removing the structures of Talon and finishing this in a clean manner.
Mission so far, especially on that Baron play alone, pretty much zoned away 4 people with just basic abilities. In goes River trying to make the hero play onto the backside. It's going to be the Tempered Fate not landing. Bullet time is just all over the place. River gets taken down. Hanabi is trying to solo Koala of all people, and he will get eliminated as Mission is unstoppable at this point. Machi now, with 5 members strong, can look to finish off this game and make their way into the grand final. Candy, Unify, Kaiwing, they have to try and make a stand. It's not going to happen, though, and unfortunately, they are scattered to the winds as Machi are able to find themselves the Game 5 victory and advance to our grand final.
What a wild game. Talon has seen through 2 BO5s in their PCS lifetime so far. They worked hard to get towards this game number 5, only for Machi to disappoint them and take that away from them. I love the way these 2 teams fight. That was so intense. You can tell that Machi still has a lot of respect despite having such a humongous gold lead. They still want to take away all of the inhibitors first before marching towards the Nexus.
Yeah, Machi able to bring it home here in Game 5. Talon Maybe they use too many tricks up their sleeve. Maybe the set pick just isn't going in their favor when it comes to the jungle. I don't know what it is. I think the biggest difference, like Mission, Mission that game just like single-handedly carry Machi at that point. I think if Mission had an average game, it might have been in favor of Talon. We could have seen some good fights go their way, but especially that last Baron play, which practically made it impossible for Talon to even contest.
It was wild. Again, you mentioned the terrain that was changed over near that Raptor area made just was that shield provided for a Mission to just allow dark spheres here and there and zone out the whole Talon at that. Every single Talon player was zoned by a single Syndra, and that was amazing to watch.
Yeah, we'll take a look back. I believe this is our second Baron of the game where Machi were able to find their mark, and it was just this scattered back and forth. Oh no, this was Gemini dying to Unify because of the Baron.
Yeah. And he was very low, had to tank a lot of towers, had to tank a lot of Baron hits. But at the same time, it was a 1v1 temporary for Bruce and Hanabi, so this gave room for Talon to at least scare away Mission. But at the same time, they got the Baron and managed to save that for the next push, and I am still impressed because Machi has lived through a very long day today, and now we've managed to see and test out how these two teams manage in a BO5.
Yeah, so with that, Machi able to take home the victory, 3-2 when it comes to the series, and we got ourselves another grand finals quality matchup between Talon and the top of the standings, and this is why I'm excited, because this means now that Talon get forced down into the lower bracket, and they await the victors of the AHQ series as well as the Hong Kong Attitude series that are going to be taking place tomorrow. So we might be able to see again another AHQ matchup. Of course, they aren't going to be able to play that losers bracket final until about 2 weeks time, because we're going to have our 2 final lower bracket games tomorrow, and then we go on a 2-week break for then our grand finals weekend.
It's going to be wild because so far, all of the best of fives, especially teams involving the top 3, have been not disappointing at all when it comes to the series. Still very unpredictable, although something that has been the common trend in this series in particular is whoever gets the early lead, specifically in the mid lane, will dictate how the game is going to progress. And we've seen that in all of the games we've seen in this series.
Yeah, this isn't even up for a question. Mission taking home the MVP was an absolute monster. I think that's enough said, especially on his performance with this Syndra.
Yeah, managed to single-handedly zone out 5 players from Talon to go near the Baron pit. And with that said, just so many threats on the side of Mission. There were a couple of hidden picks from Talon. Unfortunately, they had to show their cards early and not enough to be able to, win this series against Machi. Still, technically, Machi is undefeated series-wise, but at least we see a little bit of weakness here and there, all thanks to Talon in this series.
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe they're dropping these games here now so they don't have to do it during the grand final. Maybe it's all part of the big brain play when it comes to the scope of things, where they don't get to they get to see their weaknesses here early, and then they can shore up for the final. So again, congratulations over to Machi. They'll be playing in our final. They get to await the victor of our loser bracket final, which again will be taking place on the Saturday before the finals on the Sunday at the first weekend of May. And that itself is a wacky Saturday too, because first you actually have the loser semifinal gets played, and then immediately after you go into the loser bracket final. You don't get any rest, and you have to go up against Talon Esports of all teams.
Speaking of rest, Machi is going to be sitting at the tippy top waiting for the lower bracket finals to transpire, and now they're able to just study up, see how these teams are going to be playing it out, and I feel like it is indeed a well-deserved rest for Machi, considering the start of their PCS managed to get a 16 win streak, and then now surviving a grueling BO5 against Talon, who has seen so much in this playoffs, in the playoffs so far.
No, Talon has had one of the longest bouts here in the finals, and on their quest toward the finals, and they still have to play then another best of 5, which then they'll have to, if they win that, they have to play a best of 5 in the grand final. They're looking at close to a 22 game possibility in playoffs alone, which comparative-wise, they only played, I believe it was 18 during the regular season, so the fact that they've had to pretty much play double the amount of games because of how many of these series have gone the distance, it has to get a bit tiring.
It does, for sure. Considering that, yeah, again, first up, if you compare it to how much Machi had to go through in the playoffs in general, since they had, you know, that bye slot, so they're just sitting pretty at that, you know, round number 2 at the upper bracket, and now they have another good amount of rest. So that will be very indeed helpful. Meanwhile, you know, Talon, I am actually very happy to see them mix it a bit when it comes to draft. These are drafts that we've never seen before when we saw the AHQ matchup. So for me, I'm just looking forward for more interesting picks, especially Hanabi on the Vladimir. That is insane.
Yeah, maybe we'll get to see more Vladimir come out from Hanabi and a little bit more trust when it comes to Talon's draft for him onto the carries. We have seen him do it time and time again, either on the Gangplank as well as the Mordekaiser. So we'll see what Big Fafa and crew have in store. Of course, they're not out of playoffs, and that's always, you know, a saving grace. And I'm interested to see how the team is going to react in some of their, you know, side content when it comes to the PCS. But of course, let's go ahead and take a look toward our playoff bracket at the moment. So with this, Machi go on to our grand final taking place on May the 3rd, Sunday. Talon will go into L6, our losers bracket final, happening on May 2nd. But tomorrow, we'll be having, of course, Alpha taking on AHQ, which that itself should be an actually entertaining best of 3. And then we'll see Hong Kong Attitude taking on Berjaya Dragon.
Yeah, tomorrow is going to be also quite an interesting turn of events, because the more, when it comes to the lower bracket, there is just the do or die attitude, do or die scenario for most of these teams. So that's all the reason why they should play their secret cards, their pocket picks. And, you know, I'm expecting a lot of interesting drafts. If today was interesting, I feel like tomorrow might actually top it off, because that is Alpha versus HQ, HKA versus Berjaya Dragons.
Yeah, I think for Berjaya Dragons, they're kind of that last bastion of hope when it comes to some of the former Southeast Asia orgs. Of course, being a Malaysian-owned org, they've been able to at least keep their hopes alive when it comes to playoffs, and they were able to find a 2-0 over Hong Kong Attitude during the regular season. So I think there's a good possibility that they might have a shot to at least play up against Alpha or AHQ, which itself should be a very explosive matchup.
Yep. And meanwhile for Alpha, they have still been quite the unpredictable team in the whole PCS, and we might even see another Berjaya Alpha if ever, but HQ is definitely a tough opponent if on paper for sure.
Yeah, it should be a difficult series, I think, for both of those squads. I think especially once we get into our other mini bracket down there, where they'll be having to play that best of 3 into the best of 5. That's going to be a grueling Saturday, and it was a grueling day today, a long one. Best of 5 going the full distance. If you guys enjoyed the show, be sure to follow over on the Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. And if you're watching on the television, thanks for tuning on in. For now, myself and Riku are going to be calling it a night, and we'll see you tomorrow for more action from the PCS.